Hello there again, it's Derek Cummings to talk to you about COPD, and I hope that I have something interesting for you today. And welcome to some new people, because I announced on my written blog, We Strive to Breathe Easier, I've been writing that for 8 years, that I would be moving it more or less all over to video now, because it's easier for me to do, to be honest with you, and I want to try and put it into one place, put it onto YouTube as well. Is actually more convenient for me. So you guys will be here, and I hope this is going to find you're going to find this very useful. But I did find one thing very clear from the blogs that I wrote. I received many emails from people that have just been diagnosed that were very frightened by their diagnosis, believing that they were going to die within a very short time. This isn't true. You can live for a very long time with COPD. In actual fact, you're more likely to die with COPD than because of COPD. In my case, I've been living with this for 31 years. It won't be long before it's 32 years. And we're going to talk about stages anyway. Now, we're going to talk about lung function and lung deterioration. Your lungs start deteriorating from a very young age. In fact, by the age of 30, nobody has a lung function of 100%. It's just about impossible to find. By the time you're 80, your lung function is pretty low anyway. But we go by forced expiratory volume at FEV1, and it's expected lung volume. It's what you expected for your age, for your weight, and everything else. And when I talk about percentages, that I've got 25%, that means I've got 25% of the expected lung function for somebody at 70 years age, my weight and everything else, and height. Now, stage 1 is anything from above 80% to say 87%. Now, I was first diagnosed when I had that, and basically I had bronchitis, and I was getting a bit out of breath. But nothing too serious. I was told I got COPD, given no explanation. We talked about that on another blog, and we'll talk about it again. Sent my way with an inhaler. I was told I had slight emphysema, bronchitis. As time went past, because this is a very slow, and I can't emphasise that more, progressive disease. It doesn't happen rapidly. But then I went into stage 2. Now, stage 2, you've got a lung function of between 50 and 79% of the expected norm. You can do very much in that, which is moderate to COPD. I worked through the whole of it with little problems. You do have to adjust your life, your body adjusts to that. You haven't got quite so much, but you'll be quite surprised by the extra capacity that your lungs do have. Indeed, I've somebody I know, he had lung cancer in his 20s, he had a lung removed, and he lived quite happily with one lung for his entire life, and as far as I know, he's still actually alive. And then you get into severe. Now, severe is much harder. That's when you start to get more exacerbations. You start to get more out of breath on inclines. Things do become very much harder, and it varies. Some people get through it quite well. I worked again through severe. In fact, I didn't stop working until I was in the very severe. But severe, you're talking of between 30 and 49% of lung function. You can go along quite steady with that, and as long as you pace yourself, and it's all to do with pacing, don't rush, do what you're capable of, expect other people to go along with you, keep away from sick people, get your flu jabs all the time, every year, and generally look after yourself. Now, we talk about that. I had an interesting conversation with somebody once, and I've had COPD now for 31 years. It's forced me to look after myself, and I have to know my body, know what's going on. If I hadn't have had COPD, I said, well, I wonder if I'd have still been alive, because I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have taken care of myself like I do now. I'd have carried on like I was, doing what I wanted to, taking all the risks in life that maybe I shouldn't be doing. It's certainly an eye-opener that having COPD you could actually live longer, not shorter. But anyway, we go on to the stage 4. Now I'm at stage 4. Now stage 4 is called end stage. Well, that's very frightening to a lot of people. They're told, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Smith, you're at end stage COPD now. There's nothing more we can do for you." And that's it. My life's over. No, it's not. I've had end stage now for 8 years. I've been on oxygen for more than 6 years, and I feel absolutely great. Apart from if I get up, I can't actually walk far without getting out of breath. But I feel great, believe me. And yesterday I had a marvellous day where I felt it was really good to be alive. I don't get many days that good, but I did, and which goes to show you that even after 31 years, even after 8 years of end stage, you're fine. Now, I know a woman who was at end stage. She was given 6 months to live, sent into a hospice, and guess what? She died 14 years later. How's that for delaying? They let her out of the hospice first. But anyway, end stage, yes, it is different, and you do need to take care of that. You do need to pace yourself. You need to watch your weights, because if you put on too much weight, it makes you breathing hard. You don't want to be underweight, because if you're underweight, that is equally a problem. You need to be slightly overweight, which is where I am, and I'm quite happy with that. And most of all, you must move that body. You mustn't just sit there and do nothing. Don't think to yourself, I'm breathless and it's much easier to sit down and do nothing, because then I don't get breathless. You must get breathless. You must give them lungs a workout. However you do it is up to you. You don't need to do anything really dramatic other than walking around the house, doing the housework, doing the washing up, doing a bit of shopping, doing whatever you are capable of doing. And we're all different. Do something. Get that body moving. Now, I'm not saying you've got to keep moving all day, but get moving for a couple of hours a day. Don't sit there with just a remote control, and don't stay in bed all the time, because that is a recipe for disaster. It really is. I've seen it happen far too many times. But when we're talking about weight, now, I do want to give you a warning about what I call the insidious. Now, we're talking about exacerbations and the illnesses that can put us into hospital, the pneumonias, the bronchitis and all sorts of things that can put us into hospital because we can't breathe. It's as simple as that. And then they've got to normally give us steroids and nebulizers and antibiotics and everything to get us going. I try to stay out of hospital. But I started to get a few breathing problems a few weeks ago, and I knew something was going on, but my sputum was okay. All my signs seemed to be okay, except that I was finding it harder to breathe. One clue was I'd put on a little bit of weight. I'd gone from 15 stone to 15.4 overnight, just like that. And it continued to get worse. And then I looked and I'd gone from 15.4 to 15.7. So in 2 days I'd gone from 15 stone to 15.7, and I was finding it harder to breathe. Heart rate was up slightly. Everything else seemed to be fairly normal. Well, something's going on, and I'm gaining weight, and I'm gaining weight that's fluid. You can't put on fat like that. I wasn't eating any extra. I wasn't having whole bars of chocolate. Can you imagine? I'd really been pushing it in, wouldn't I? So I realised there was a problem going on now. Well, we'll leave it a day. We'll watch this and see if it resolves. I've got some water pills, so I took an extra water pill. Next day, if I did something, I was on the sink and I'd like that, my breath, 15.10. I'd gained 10 pounds in 3 days, and I realised what it was my lungs. Now, think of a bath sponge. When you've got no water in it, it's nice and springy. It's lovely. It's got lots of air in it. That's your lungs when they're not. Think of that as your lungs when they're not full of water. Fill it up with water, and imagine how hard. Well, my oxygen saturation levels have gone down, even with higher levels of oxygen. So it's obvious the problem was the water was disappearing in my lungs. I came very near to going to hospital. Before I went to hospital, I took the prednisolone and the antibiotics that I have in an emergency pack. Unfortunately for me, within 24 hours the weight disappeared. Within 2 days my weight was back down to 15 stone. I checked this morning, it's actually 14 stone 13, so I'm a pound under what was expected, and my breathing is a million times better. Watch out for that. If you do the same, if you wake up and you gain weight almost overnight, if you gain a lot of weight almost overnight and your breathing is hard, almost certainly you are retaining water, and you almost certainly you're retaining water in your lungs, and you need to get that sorted. Go along to your local hospital and explain what's happening, and they will sort you out. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm not going to talk about any more today. You've had enough of listening to me, Derek Cummings. And what I will say is that there is a lot of stuff on my written blogs that I could talk about on videos, and I'm going to go through that, and I will be back talking about some of that, because a lot of that many of you won't know about. It's all I went through in my different stages. It's all from my personal point of view. It's all the pitfalls I've went through. It's the silly mistakes I went through and everything, and I will be going through that. So and anything else that happens, anything that's happening from day to day. But for now, keep cheerful. I know it's not easy with COPD, but keep busy, keep doing things, and why don't you join one of our groups if you don't belong? We've got the COPD help site, and we've also got the blog. You can always read the back issues. But best of all, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you again soon. Breathe easy. Bye bye.